Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, Jan Michael here, and welcome to a retrospective of the 50th Academy Awards. Now, I know what you're thinking.
Jan, are you trying to copy the Oscar expert and the film drunk? Huh? You think you could do a better job than them? Huh? And why the 50th Academy Awards? Huh? Didn't you already do Annie Hall? Huh?
All excellent questions. First, I'm not trying to copy anyone. The Oscar expert and the film drunk have retrospective videos, and I think those are fantastic and I highly recommend you go check those out. But while their videos do focus on the landscape of how everything was that year, such as looking at the other awards festivals and what was in the conversation, I really just want to focus on the Oscars directly. I want to talk about what was going on with the show, who the winners were there any controversies that were happening. That's where my focus is going to be. As for my Annie Hall review, this video isn't meant to replace that one in any way or form. If you want a detailed look at that movie and what Melinda and I thought of it, please go check out that video. I highly recommend that. This will only briefly talk about that one, but also look at all the other winners. So hopefully I set your fears at ease, and now we can begin. The year is 1978. Copyright law has just gone into effect. Ted Bundy's running around murdering people. Roman Polanski flees the country for fucking pedophilia. And worse, your parents are dressing up like this. Truly a grave time for us all. But luckily, the Oscars are here to relieve our pain by giving awards to the films that released in 1977. Bob Hope returned to host the Oscars for the 19th time, which would also be his last time. He currently holds the record for hosting the Oscars the most and is considered one of the best hosts the show has ever had. The show also honored the death of some true legends, just to name a few. Joanne Crawford, Bing Crosby, Elvis Presley, Groucho Marx, and Charlie Chaplin all lost their life the year prior. And in the case of Charlie Chaplin, he lost his body as well when two grave robbers stole it just a few weeks prior to the show. Now, the Oscars, never wanting to be free of controversy, had a bunch of schoolgirls signing the words to You Light Up My Life as it was performed on stage. They were supposedly affiliated with the John Tracy Clinic for the Deaf, but after people complained that their signing was, well, not good, it was revealed that they were not deaf, but had only been taught basic sign skills for the show. Way to go, Academy. Taking home the grand prize that year was Annie Hall, which won 4 out of its 5 nominations. Along with Annie Hall, the other Best Picture nominees were The Goodbye Girl with 5 nominations, Julia with 11, motherfucking Star Wars with 10, and The Turning Point with 11. Unfortunately, with no wins, The Turning Point is tied with The Color Purple for most nominations with 0 wins, so congratulations, I guess. Let's take a look at the Best Picture nominees a little bit more closely. Annie Hall was loved by just about everyone when it came out, and still continues to be so, despite Woody Allen being a terrible, terrible person. But hey, I'm not here to judge those people, and truthfully, I know I'm in the minority when it comes to that feeling. Heck, even Akira Kurosawa named Annie Hall one of his favorite films of all time. And the movie even ended up starting a fashion trend, so if you love it and you despise me for not, don't worry, you've technically already won. And funny enough, among the people that don't like the film are Woody Allen himself. His original idea for the movie was not well received by test audiences, and he was forced to shift focus on the relationship between his character and that of the titular Annie, which made him resentful of the final product. He didn't even go to the Oscars that year, only finding out about the win in the newspaper the following day. Now you guys know what I think of Annie Hall, so I'm not gonna bore you with the details there. But let's ask the question, was there anything else that could have won? If Annie Hall wasn't as beloved as it was, what would have taken the prize? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the other nominees and find out. The first thing you might think of is, well, Annie Hall is a romantic comedy. How many of those have won in the past, right? Surely this is an oddity that only squeezed into the nomination, right? Well, think again, because we also had The Goodbye Girl, which was also a romantic comedy. And the best way I can describe The Goodbye Girl is Diet Woody Allen. Despite Woody really still coming into his own at the time, heck, Annie Hall was his first Oscar film, you could see The Goodbye Girl and think it drew inspirations from Annie Hall, despite the two films releasing the same year. And unfortunately, when you do place the two products right next to each other, Annie Hall is the superior product. While Annie at least keeps you somewhat entertained throughout its runtime, The Goodbye Girl definitely loses steam by the midway point. The writing's also not as clever, the comedy isn't as funny, and the characters can be just as annoying, so, you know, it's not looking too good for The Goodbye Girl. Maybe Julia will be better.
It is 1937, a time of turmoil and trouble, when every moment brings the world a step closer to war, and this woman a step closer to danger.
Oh, wait, nope, never mind. Julia is a drama centered around the Holocaust. The movie tries to be suspenseful by having the protagonist be in dangerous situations while trying to find and help her friend, but unfortunately, the film isn't very good at it. Most films will throw curveballs to try to keep audience members on the edge of their seat, as otherwise the film will just come off as boring. Well, imagine Julia being a film where everything goes according to plan. Doesn't sound very fascinating, does it? Now, to be fair, the film does have these moments of frustration that make you really want to know what's going to happen or what's happened or even what the hell is happening. So the movie isn't a 100 complete snooze fest. But I really think we could have gotten a stronger product than what we received. So far it's not looking good with the other nominees. But thankfully we got motherfucking Star Wars next. Hold it. If I am being 100% completely honest, I am not the biggest fan of Star Wars. I said it. But, look, I'm of the opinion that mega blockbuster films like this don't really need to win the Oscar, as they've technically already won in their own way. They don't need an award to tell them how amazing they are. That's what the money's for. That all being said, I really do wish this one had won instead. While it may not be a favorite of mine, I can see myself watching it more than Annie Hall, which I do feel is doomed to be one of those Oscar films no one would have remembered if not for the win. So I feel that alone is telling that Annie probably shouldn't have taken the win, but what the hell do I know? Lastly, we have The Turning Point, a drama centered around the world of ballet. Riveting. Well, actually, it's not too bad a film. Definitely more so than a majority of the other films on this list, but truthfully, next to Annie Hall and Star Wars, I just don't think it stood much of a chance. If you are a fan of ballet, though, I would recommend seeing it, as it captures what I feel that world is all about. You know, because I know all about that world. Alright, let's move on to some of the other awards. And for those of you out there that are going, oh god, how much longer is this video? Don't worry, I'll try to move a little bit faster with these next ones. On the director front, you had Woody Allen for Annie Hall, who took home the win. The first of many Oscars in his long and prosperous career, unfortunately. George Lucas was nominated for Star Wars, obviously. Herbert Ross for The Turning Point. Steven Spielberg for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which is the first of many Oscar nominations coming his way. And lastly, Fred Zinnemann for Julia. You might notice that the director for The Goodbye Girl didn't make it, which may lead some of you to think, oh, it's probably because it's a romantic comedy, so how much directing could possibly go into it? Well, that could be a reason, but the more obvious one would be that the director, Herbert Ross, also directed The Turning Point, so most likely he wasn't gonna get in twice, and this was definitely the better pick for the director. For Best Actor, we had Woody Allen for basically playing himself in Annie Hall. Seriously, it's just him. Was this nomination really necessary? Ugh. Richard Burton and Equus Richard Dreyfuss in The Goodbye Girl, who ended up winning, and as of now is his only win. He does go on to get nominated once more in the future for Mr. Hallen's Opus, but he ended up losing to Nicolas Cage for Leaving Las Vegas, so there's that. We also had Marcello Mastroianni for A Special Day, and John Travolta for Saturday Night Fever, which is one of only 2 Oscars he ever got nominated for. On the Best Actress side of things, there was Anne Bancroft for The Turning Point, Jane Fonda for Julia, Diane Keaton for Annie Hall, who ended up winning, and still calls this her favorite role of all time, so she would also go on to be nominated 4 more times at the Academy, so she definitely had a prosperous career moving forward. And we also had Shirley MacLaine for The Turning Point, and Marsha Mason for The Goodbye Girl. Moving on to Best Supporting Actor, we had Mikhail Baryshnikov for The Turning Point, Peter Firth for Equus, Alec Guinness for Star Wars, Jason Robards for Julia, who took home the win and is kind of an underwhelming win when you really think about it. He did previously win for All the President's Men, but it's been a while since I've seen that movie, so I don't recall if it's a more worthy win or not, but I mean, I'm gonna get to it eventually. Lastly, there was Maximilian Schell for Julia, for some reason. I don't know. And finally, for Best Supporting Actress, there was Leslie Brown for The Turning Point, Quinn Cummings for The Goodbye Girl, who was only 10 when she was nominated, Melinda Dillon for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Vanessa Redgrave for Julia, who took home the win, and Tuesday Weld for Looking for Mr. Goodbar. Jumping back to Vanessa Redgrave and her win, there was actually something very interesting that happened during her speech. At the time, there was protest from the Jewish Defense League that Vanessa should not have gotten the nomination, let alone the win, due to her appearance in the film The Palestinian, which focuses on the Palestinian Liberation Organization, which at the time was considered a terrorist organization. Some members of the JDL went so far as to burn effigies of Vanessa and put a hit out on her. Not being one to bend to anyone's will, during her speech, Vanessa called out these people by calling them a small bunch of Zionists. Unfortunately, the way that it was said made it seem as if she called the entire JDL group that, so later on when Paddy Chayefsky came out to present an award, he decided to call out her speech. And he stated that, well, why don't I just let him tell you?
I would like to say, personal opinion of course, that I'm sick and tired of people exploiting the occasion of the Academy Awards. For the propagation of their own personal political propaganda. I would like to suggest to Ms. Redgrave that her winning an Academy Award is not a pivotal moment in history, does not require a proclamation, and a simple thank you would have sufficed.
Damn. Now, while I applaud Vanessa for calling out these people who would go so far as to put a hit out on her, like seriously, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? I also agree that I don't think the Oscars are the appropriate place to start talking about your personal beliefs and whatnot, because honestly, every single time that people do that, the only thing I think about is, do you even suffer from any of those problems? I mean, you guys are like fucking rich, right? You probably have never had to deal with any of that shit before. So I really don't think that the Oscars are the time and place to get political or anything like that. Yet people still do it to this day, and please stop. Please stop. There's a time and place for everything. It's not at the fucking Academy Awards. Okay, moving on. On the writing front, we had an award titled Best Screenplay written directly for the screen based on factual material or on story material not previously published or produced. Which is just a really, really bloated way of saying Best Original Screenplay. It's just, how the fuck did you guys not think of that back then? I don't know. This award ended up going to Woody Allen and Marshall Brickman for Annie Hall. Marshall would continue to be a writing collaborator with Woody for a few more films. For best screenplay based on material from another medium, or best adapted screenplay, the award went to Alvin Sargent for Julia. For best foreign language film, France took home the award for the 10th time, if you count The Walls of Malpaga, which is co-produced with Italy. The film submitted was Madame Rosa, which you've definitely seen if you've watched The Life Ahead with Sophia Loren a few years ago. As it's really the same thing, I will say, however, that I think this version is the superior product. I think the new version making the kid character younger was a mistake and made it a little bit less believable. Not that that actor did a bad job, I just think the setting itself would have worked better with an older actor, as this film does. Also, I think a lot of the subject material that was done, it was probably a lot more impactful back then. Not that it's not important nowadays or anything like that, it still is, but I think we've come a long way and still got a lot more to go. So I think it's a little bit more accepted now than it would have been back in the 70s. So, you know, definitely probably a lot more scrutiny back then. For documentary feature, the winner was Who Are the Dieboldts and Where Did They Get 19 Kids? This is a very well done documentary following a family who honestly had such big hearts that they started adopting orphans of war, especially those that had severe limitations such as missing limbs or paralyzed appendages. There's a young girl in the film that's a quadriplegic and only has her head and torso. And this family basically took in these kids and gave them strength and really build them up so that way they could survive when they became adults and had to go out into the world. And it's truly a very heartwarming film, and I just wish I could have found more about the kids today. I was doing some research, and apart from the parents now sadly having passed away, I really couldn't find much about the children and where they are. So I don't know, I would have liked to have seen that. And one other thing I did want to mention is I look at a film like this and think to myself, there is no way with the economy and how my generation, the limitations set upon us, that this could ever be possible in today's world. I mean, unless you're fucking rich or some shit like that, but I don't know. I think of things like that, and it really is. It's a shame. It's a shame. Anyway, you're going to start seeing a pattern emerge as we get into documentary short, where Gravity Is My Enemy took home the win. This one follows Mark Hicks, a quadriplegic artist who lost the use of his limbs when he fell from a tree. In his case, he doesn't have long to live and is trying to make as much art as possible before the end comes. He uses his mouth to make some very interesting pictures, and the film follows his path to opening an art exhibit. Again, a well-made film which does feel like an extension of Who Are the Dieboldts. Now you might get confused with live action short, as the winner went to I'll Find a Way, which really is more of a documentary than anything, and once again tackles the subject of someone who doesn't have full use of their limbs. This one follows Beverly Schaefer, who has spina bifida, which is when the spine doesn't fully close when in the womb. And this one's more of an interview with Beverly and what her feelings about going to a public school are, rather than one that focuses on children with disabilities. So live action, I mean, technically, but this does feel like it belongs more in the documentary section. That being said, it's not a bad film. Lastly, for animated short, we have The Sandcastle, which must have been a bitch to make. Lots of sand in play here. And the animation, from what I was reading, was done with puppets. And truthfully, this looks like something you would get high watching and then trip balls on. Not that I would know anything about that experience. So yeah. Let's just quickly brisk along these final awards, shall we? Original score went to John Williams for Star Wars, his 4th Oscar and millionth nomination that would turn into $1 billion soon enough. And yeah, I think that's well deserved. Yeah. Next, we have a category called Best Original Score, and it's Adaptation or Adaptation Score. This award really only lasted 2 years, back when they didn't know what the fuck they were doing, which is kind of the same as today. Look, ultimately it's an extension of original score, and the winner went to A Little Night Music, which is not regarded as a good film, so why the fuck it won, I have no idea. Original song went to You Light Up My Life from the film of the same name. Here's a quick clip. And that's that. The song is fine in my opinion. It's definitely one of the more popular winners at the time. It's one that I've definitely heard before knowing of its win, so there's that. Sound went to Star Wars, duh. Costume design went to John Molo for Star Wars, who would also go on to win for Gandhi. Art direction went to Star Wars, duh. Cinematography went to Vilmos Zsigmond for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which was also his first nomination. Editing went to Star Wars, duh. And visual effects went to Star Wars, duh. Now, normally I want to kind of close off these videos by talking about any records broken or firsts for the Academy, but honestly, I couldn't really find much of anything on those topics. I guess the turning point with 11 nominations and no wins, that one definitely held the record until The Color Purple came out and now ties it. But really, apart from that, there's nothing much that I could find. But if I'm wrong, please let me know those in the comments below. I find those little trivias very interesting. I wish I could have found more to share with you guys. So there's that. And that's the 50th Academy Awards. All in all, it wasn't a terrible year for the Oscars. I mean, there were definitely some standout moments, like Star Wars making such a big splash. And keep in mind, the Oscars always had prejudice for certain types of films, and science fiction was definitely among one of those. So it's nice to see a film like this make such an impact there. Like the documentary and foreign language film wins this year. And of course, we see the beginning of Steven Spielberg's reign, so that's always nice. Yes, there were moments that they fucked up, such as the sign language fiasco and the whole Vanessa Redgrave hate out on her. Still can't believe that bullshit. And like any year, you're always going to have those wins that don't really stick out very much or are weak in comparison. But, I mean, that's just par the course for the Oscars, really. So yes, let me know what you guys think. First, of the 50th Academy Awards, were there any on here that you agreed with, that you wish something else had won? Anything like that, general information, all of that is welcome. And then secondly, let me know what you thought about this video. Was it fucking long and boring? Was it entertaining? Should I continue doing these? Or should I just stop? Should I just stop? Should I just delete my channel? Just give up? Give up on life? Let me know in the comments below. I'm pretty impressionable, so I'll probably do it. And until next time, guys, like always, stay safe out there and have a good one.